All right, hey friends. So today I want to share with you a aspiration that I have. And this aspiration is and this is my aspiration for 2023. It is to develop a skill acquisition flywheel. Hear me out. So there are things that we want in life, that I want in my life. For example, I want to be doing the things that I love and so that I can get better at it. And if I can make money out of doing it, then it'll be a great thing. So find out what I'm good at, what I love, what I can get good at, and turn that into a business. And ultimately, what this allows me to do is to build up life that I want, so that I have the freedom to explore. I have the freedom to experience, and I have the freedom to express. So I believe these three things are the pillars of a great life and a great career. And so I do want that. But there are things that we want, and it seems like we just can't get it for some odd reasons. So here I'm trying to develop a system or a model where we can actually attain the things that we want. Because all you need is just the right things, the right programming in your head, and the right skills, and you can get the things you want. So this is a model that I've come up with. All right, so you see here. So the things that we want, we can say here in the center, and let's call it price. This is the thing, the object, the goal, the state that we want to attain. And if you already have the skills of attaining it, you will just get it. And the problem is that it's just that something is missing that's preventing us from getting this. So we have a price, and something is preventing us from getting to that price. So this is essentially what our problem is. Now, problem can be simple to view, but in actuality, problems, there are multiple constituents making it up to the problem. So you want to tackle the problems at their root, not on the surface. But we'll dive into that later. So once we kind of clarify on what the problem is, then the next phase is what we can do is we'll have to research into how to solve the problem. And there's a little secret to how this methodology works. You see, the right way to form this is actually by asking the right questions. And once you have the right questions, you'll want to conduct your research such that you can come up and curate claims to inform. This is important because by asking the right questions, it's going to point you to the right direction. And when you gather your research, it's going to reveal the answers or the evidence and claims to inform the question. And hopefully, by doing that, it can resolve the question. But we're going to go into the next step. So once you do this, once you've formulated the question and you formulate the claims against the question, with that, you should be able to formulate a test model. A test model is just your attempt to apply the things you've learned into actionable applications. And hopefully that eventually will address the question and the problem. So you have the model, and then next thing, so the models will be something like series of steps. So A, and then B, and then C, or if you want to do D at the same time, right? So these are just series of steps. So now you have the model. Now it's time to actually do them, because all these things are in our head. In our head, it is not application. The only way to learn is to do. So you gotta run the experiments. So you gotta run and do experiments. So you already know the outcome that you want is the price, right? So set an outcome. And you also want to set a time frame to run the experiment. So it could be 1 week, 2 week, a month, whatever. So by doing this, you can actually so what you want is actually you want to experiment and experience what is like to run through the model, to run the model, right? So you'll run the model and then you'll see whether it gets close to the outcome that you want. So after that, it's time to make some conclusions. Conclude. So you'll look at the data and then the results, and you want to see if it's how close are you to the outcome that you want. And you want to have some observations about improvements, right, for the next iteration. So then, next, what you can do is you want to share your experience, your discoveries. And the sharing of experience is important because it solidifies in your head how this whole cycle is being played out. So best to do is tell a narrative. Because by telling a narrative about the start, the how, the end, it'll reinforce the whole experience in your head and you'll never forget it. So narrative with a storytelling. And now at this point, you either can go two ways. You've achieved what you wanted, and then so you've attained the price that you want. Or it's not quite close, so you'll go back to the cycle again. So redefine and fine-tune the problem, and then go through this cycle again. Now the cool thing is, in the next pass, you're gonna eventually go through this pass one more time to get to this point, right? You'll need to fine-tune the problem, maybe conduct some more research, fine-tune the test results, and then run some experiments, etc. And then eventually, the more you do it, the closer you are gonna get towards attaining the prize. And the cool thing is that you're now going to have a model as an artifact. And this model will always stay with you on how you can solve the problem. But besides that, there's also the research, right? Because when you go through all those things, the research you've done is not in vain. These go into your knowledge repository. And if you have constructed your research correctly, all these things can lead into can support future efforts. So with all that, and then lastly, when you tell the story, you're also adding more things to your story repository to share with external people. So I think this flywheel of skill acquisition is very effective because essentially you're going to just zero in on the thing that you want. And then in the process, you'll acquire the model, which is a skill, to actually attain it. You build up your knowledge repository, you have your application experience, and you have a story to tell. So I think this is a very powerful way to get what you want. And in the process, pick up all these and build up all these artifacts. So that's it for me today. I'm going to apply this in my life and see how else this might be useful. Cheers.